Review of the JOYO DC-15S Digital Guitar Practice Amplifier, Part 2. If you've just discovered this video and haven't seen Part 1, it would be well worth you watching it. So I've put a link to that down below in the description. I decided to do a Part 2 of this review because I missed out on some of the features. I missed some important information. And I had some interesting questions that I needed to answer. Right, first I'll answer a couple of the questions. And the first question relates to its connectivity to the mobile phone. The first question then is, what are the ports on the back of the amp used for? That's the iOS and the Android ports. So let's take the provided lead out of the bag and we'll take a look at this. Whilst taking the lead out for the mobile phone, I also noticed they'd put some non-slip pads for the foot pedal in there as well. So whilst I remember, and before I lose them, I'll stick those onto the foot pedal. I'll speed this bit up so we get through it more quickly. Don't know if any of you have got a similar camera to mine, but this looks really strange through the camera because it looks like I've got 5 follow focuses. Because the little square that's a guide to where to stick the pad is exactly the same shape as the follow focus in my camera. Okay, I've not put them on perfectly square, but they'll do the job. And because I was using the foot pedal on a carpeted surface, I didn't even notice they weren't there. But if you were using it on a shiny floor, something like a laminate or a hardwood floor, you'd really notice if they weren't there. The lead provided is a common mobile phone lead with the multi-connection mini jack. However, it's worth noting that they only provided one lead for both Android and iOS. So I don't know if this is going to make a difference. I'm plugging it into the Android socket on the back of the amplifier and into the headphone stroke microphone socket on my Android phone. And I'll cut to the chase on this because I've actually spent about 2 or 3 hours playing with this and I can't get any decent results. And what I'm finding is that the drums sound absolutely great, but the guitar sounds like it's going through a noise gate with a really high floor. So you can understand this, here's what I'm getting. Now, if the drums weren't recording properly, I'd say it was a problem with the noise gate in the phone. However, the fact that the drums record perfectly and the guitar is being cut by a noise gate means that it must be happening within the amplifier. However, to be sure this wasn't the case, I tried highering the volume and the gain on the guitar so that the signal coming out of the amplifier was really strong. And this didn't help at all. As well as everything else I tried to sort this problem out, I tried a higher gain guitar, and that made a slight difference, but it still had this problem. So, to try and correct this problem and get a good quality recording, I've tried different guitars, different settings, a different device, and multiple different apps. However, the best results I got were using an app called Microphone Amplifier, and that's what I used to do the tests in this video. Another thing I noticed about the Android connection, assume it is correct and I haven't got the wrong lead, is that it's only a record lead and it doesn't play back through the amp. So if you want to monitor what you've recorded through the amp, you have to connect the Bluetooth as well as a wire. which doesn't make any sense at all. Now, I'll be the first one to admit I'm no mobile phone expert, so if you've got any ideas, leave a comment down below and then I can try them. The next question I got was regarding connectivity to the mobile phone again, and that was regarding the Bluetooth, and do you have to have the phone right by the amp? And I can tell you now, definitely not. I've walked away from the amp at least 50 feet and it still works fine. The next question I've been asked that I need to answer is, will it work with an electroacoustic guitar? And the answer to that is an emphatic yes. And in fact, I got really good results playing an electroacoustic through it, and I thought it sounded really good. Here's a very brief demonstration of that, recorded through the line out. I'm sure you'll agree that sounded really nice, and not only did it sound good through the line out, it also sounded really good through the speakers here as well. Right, I think that's it. I've covered all the questions I've received about this amp. And there's just two items I didn't cover in the first review now, which is the headphone socket and the line in. So, the headphone socket does everything you'd want it to do. The sound quality is good, and if anything, the volume is a little high. So you might want to lower the amp first before you plug it in, especially if you've got headphones on your ears. In fact, I've just put the headphones on top of the amp here and hired the drums to halfway, and you can hear them clearly. I don't know if it comes through the camera microphone, but I can certainly hear it here. And the line in certainly works fine, but I can't imagine many people needing that, to be quite honest. However, looking on the JOYO audio website, they're showing the line in as being connected to a mobile phone. So they're really pushing this amp towards the live streaming community who need something that'll work on the go. And with this in mind, it's worth me mentioning that I've had this amp now for over 2 weeks. Probably closer to 3 weeks, and I filmed the original review as well as this top-up review, and I've been doing various tests and playing with the amp in between that, and I still haven't had to recharge the battery. So I went on the website and checked out the spec, and here's what it says reading it off the website. The battery takes 2 hours to charge, and on one charge will last around 9 hours at full volume. However, the acoustic guitar achieves only 4.5 hours. And I got 2 things out of this. 1, that the battery life is really good. And 2, the fact that the acoustic amp model drains more juice means it must have a proper preamp in it, which means it's designed to work well with acoustic instruments and electroacoustic instruments. And because of this, I'd be willing to stick my neck out and say that it will work well with any electroacoustic instrument. For example, an electric violin, or a ukulele, or a mandolin. And I've actually used it on an electric violin and a ukulele, and it worked great. Final conclusion. This is a really good little amp, and I've been happy with everything I've tried on it. The choice of amps and sounds on it is really good, and the effects are really good. And with an electroacoustic guitar, it's probably one of the best sounding in its price range I've ever played on. it's actually very good. The biggest downside on this amp is the lack of a tuner. A tuner would be good. However, you can actually use the line out and plug that into a separate tuner if you want to, but a built-in tuner would be nice. The looper has some limitations. For example, it's got no volume control. So if you're recording a backing in, you have to make sure you record it with the volume on your guitar down a bit, otherwise you can't hear the lead playing over it. And unfortunately, when you turn the amp off, your loop disappears anyway, so you have to start again from scratch. But if you're that serious about using a looper, you'd have a separate pedal anyway. And that's it. I think I've covered everything I need to cover. So thank you very much for watching part 1 and part 2. And if you enjoyed this, and it's the first of my reviews you've seen, please like, subscribe and hit the bell icon. And then you'll be notified when I upload new videos. And if you're looking for free guitar lessons, either take a look at my channel or go to www.ebooks4guitar.com, and there's loads of free guitar courses there. And I'll be uploading new lessons soon. And I'll play out with more samples of this amplifier being used.